Welcome, dear students of Bihar Board Class 12, to this video. Here I will be summarizing and analyzing the essay, How Free is the Press? By Dorothy L. Sayers. I am sure you will learn everything from this video. It will going to help you in your upcoming board exam. So before starting, please like, share this video, and subscribe my channel. Let's start. Dorothy L. Sayers was a versatile essayist, playwright, poet, and detective fiction writer, famous for being one of the first women to graduate from Oxford University in 1915. Her style is known for clarity and strong argumentation. Her notable works include detective fiction like Clouds of Witness, Unnatural Death, and Lord Peter Views the Body. Famous titles include Gaudy Night and Nine Tailors. Her scholarly work, such as editing short stories of detection and translating Dante's Inferno. The core theme of the essay is to argue against misreporting by the press and the misuse of press freedom. Sayers explores the difference between technical liberty and actual freedom, exposes economic distortions, and seeks to empower the reader. A free press is essential for a free people. While wartime restrictions are accepted, the expectation in peacetime is full freedom. Sayers challenges this by asking if the restored freedom is real or merely an illusion. This brings us to the core question. Is the press truly free to express public opinion, or is its freedom a disguise for the uncontrolled power of overlords? Technically, the British press enjoys freedom from government censorship. It can attack policies and expose scandals fearlessly. However, Sayers argues the reality is actual control, where the press is manipulated by private interests instead of serving as a public forum. This leads to unofficial censorship. Sayers argues the press does not just express public opinion, it manufactures it. The heaviest restriction is not from government. It comes from the press itself, manipulating readers' views to serve its own agenda. Sayers identifies two masters of the press who control what you read: the advertisers, who provide revenue, and the proprietor, who provides ownership and sets policy. Master number one, the advertisers. The core problem is financial dependency. Newspapers are sold so cheaply that they can't survive on sales alone. They rely almost entirely on advertising revenue to avoid going bankrupt. This creates a conflict of interest where editorial decisions are driven by commercial needs rather than the truth. Essentially, a newspaper cannot support a policy, even one that is good for the nation, if it hurts the vested interests of the brands paying the bills. It becomes a pay-to-play system where the press protects advertisers from government control, while actively smashing or driving out smaller competitors who refuse to pay for ad space. Master number two, the proprietor, or wealthy owner. In this scenario, the newspaper acts as a puppet, where editorial policy isn't determined by the public interest, but by the owner's personal whims, ambitions, and spites. These owners often use their publications as political weapons to settle personal scores. For instance, if a proprietor is denied a government job or favor, they might weaponize their newspaper to launch an attack on the minister responsible. Ultimately, the danger here is that what claims to be the voice of the people is largely just the amplified voice of one rich individual pursuing their own agenda. The Anatomy of Deception Sayers outlines 6 forms of misrepresentation, arguing that the press assumes the public is stupid and prefers entertainment over truth. Following are the 6 distortions. First, sensational headlines that create false emphasis. Second, garbling. Third, inaccurate reporting. Fourth, plain reversal of facts. Fifth, random invention of details that never happened. Sixth, deliberate miracle-mongering. The first form is sensational headlines, which use false emphasis and remove context. The goal is to grab attention by selecting a minor, scandalous point and making it the main story. Second is garbling, twisting or misquoting a speaker's words. It is the special accomplishment of the press interviewer. Let's look at the example provided. The author, Dorothy L. Sayers, actually said, "I prefer writing plays to novels. If the opportunity to write a play were to present itself, I should undoubtedly write it." It's a positive statement about her love for plays. But look at how the press reported it. Miss Sayers said she would write no more plays, except on commission. They completely changed her meaning from enthusiasm to reluctance. This tactic completely alters the public's perception of a speaker's true intent. The third form of distortion is inaccurate reporting of facts. This isn't just about making mistakes. It's about changing details to make a story more sellable. Take a look at the example of the Oxford flat break-in. The newspaper headline claimed that the famous author Dorothy L. Sayers personally disturbed thieves in her home. But the reality? Every key detail was wrong. The date was altered to hide that the news was 3 days old. Sayers wasn't even in Oxford. She was at the King's Garden party. And she didn't disturb the thieves. A local newspaper boy did. Why change these facts? The slide explains the motivation: to fix cold, old news and to add snob value. A famous author fighting criminals is a dramatic narrative. A newsboy doing it is just ordinary life. The press simply rewrites reality to fit the most entertaining script. Fourth is plain reversal of facts. This is total fabrication, where the media reports the exact opposite of the truth. During a wartime blackout, the author Dorothy L. Sayers was summoned because light was visible from her home. The truth was that her servant had diligently drawn the curtains, but the curtains themselves were defective. However, the press report claimed Sayers said her servant had simply forgotten to draw them. This seems like a small detail, but by reversing the facts from a mechanical defect to human negligence, they caused public embarrassment and distress to a servant who had actually done her job correctly. Fifth is random invention. Details are invented without checking facts. A gossipy paper reported that Dorothy L. Sayers' secret passions were gardening and keeping cats. Sounds harmless, right? The problem is, it was completely false. The reality was that she detested gardening and only kept a cat for the practical purpose of catching mice. If they invent small details, Sayers asks, how can they be trusted with world events? Finally, the sixth form is deliberate miracle-mongering. This involves exaggeration and sensationalism to make the ordinary seem extraordinary. Facts are distorted purely to sell papers. Example: newspaper claimed a speaker delivered an incredible 20,000 words in an hour. That is physically impossible for most humans. The truth? The text was only 8,000 words. A consequence of this is the lack of remedy. It is nearly impossible to get a correction or apology from a newspaper. Letters of protest are often ignored, mocked, or selectively edited. Another consequence is genteel blackmail. This term describes a systemic intimidation where public figures, like writers and politicians, are terrified to criticize the press. Why? Because the press holds the power to destroy reputations. If a person offends the media, they face a specific set of threats. They might be completely ignored, which kills a public career, attacked in gossip columns, or have their work buried. It is a silent, polite form of blackmail that ensures no one dares to speak out against the media's distortion of truth. Ultimately, all of these distortions lead to one major outcome: the impact on the public. The careless disregard for truth creates a cynical and mistrusting public. This impact unfolds in three critical ways. First, we see a fundamental erosion of trust in institution. Second, the public becomes unable to distinguish fact from fiction, leaving them confused and directionless. Finally, and most dangerously, democracy itself is weakened. A healthy democracy relies on an informed electorate, but when truth is manufactured rather than reported, the very foundation of that system crumbles. The reader's dilemma, which can be summed up in one word: helplessness. The ordinary reader has absolutely no machinery to control the press. Unlike a bad government, which we can vote out of office, we cannot vote out a corrupt newspaper. Our only theoretical weapons are a penny a day, meaning we can refuse to buy the paper, and our own native wit or common sense. Ultimately, the individual is largely powerless. Students, just look on vocabulary by yourself by pausing the video. In summary, How Free is the Press challenges us to recognize the commercial and personal interests that manipulate the news. Our only defense against deception is critical thinking. Thank you and good luck for your upcoming exam.
Please remember to like this video, share it with your friends, and make sure you subscribe to the channel right here.